Get that fucking trash out of your life. You have legacies to build. We grew that business from 3.4 million to 17.1. Horsepower, not horse shit. You want to be the parent that's an ally. They don't need another fucking friend. Not everybody's cup of whiskey. Toughest advice for the toughest businessmen. Be relentless. Applause at home. One of the questions that I get asked by badass millionaire world builders consistently is, Michael, how do you define success? What is your definition of a successful life? It's a very deeply personal question for any man. How do you define success? What is your definition of a successful, well-lived life? After 31 years in the entrepreneurial trenches, since age 12, in business, lemonade stands, hockey camps, tennis programs, window washing businesses, insurance business, hockey business, 20 years as a professional hockey coach and amateur hockey coach, multiple losses, victories, wins, embarrassments, failures, adversity, falling down, getting up. I finally come to the definition of success that I believe is 100% accurate for me. And again, it's deeply personal to every man. I defined success simply as applause at home. Applause at home. Through my 20s and 30s, I chased money. I chased money as most young men. I'm going to become a millionaire. I want to become independently wealthy. I want to make money. I want to make 5 figures and then 6 figures and then 7 figures. I want to live in a big house and drive sports cars and wear nice clothes and live the life of a multi-millionaire. This is actually normal behavior for somebody in their 20s and 30s. Everything is instant gratification, and that's normal youthful behavior. Big dreams surrounded by money and wealth. And then, as I matured a little bit, I shifted more into legacy and significance. In my 40s in the insurance business, I made the money. I went from making $30,000 a year, then I made $40,000 a year. I was earning $50,000 a year, barely paying my bills, living in a tiny 1-bedroom apartment and driving a leased vehicle. And then my business exploded when I committed to daily marketing. When I sat down and I started writing for 1 hour, and then I started sitting down and executing Operation Money Suck for 2 hours. And then I got to the discipline where I could sit down and write and bring myself money 3 hours a day. My income went from 30 to 50 to 110 to 440,000 a year. And then my last 2 years in the insurance business, I broke the ceiling of the 7-figure personal income, $1.1 million and $1.3 million and $1.3 million my final year before selling McLean Insurance in 2017. And the big significant difference between making 30, 40, and 50,000 versus 1.1, 1.3 million personal income was I went from 10% of my time marketing my business, 10% of my time Operation Money Suck, to 85%. 85% of my efforts were into the marketing, good morning, Operation Money Suck, as I call it. And that was 85%. I was at the level where 7 days a week, like I am today, I was invested in no less than 1 hour a day. But on average, I was marketing my company 3 to 4 to maximum 5 hours per day. Sitting down and writing emails, writing copy, writing newsletters, writing scripts for TV ads, radio ads, writing faxes, social media posts, shooting videos, anything and everything that made it rain. Everything and anything that brought me money. So the money was there, and I still had this feeling of, is this all there is? I started to drive nice vehicles. I bought a nice home. I had a couple of real estate investment properties. We had a cottage on the lake with a 4-mile view up the water. I had all the toys. I had the financial freedom. I had cash flow. But I still had that feeling of, is this all there is? Like the Super Bowl champion or the Stanley Cup champion or the World Series champion or the national championship player who gets to the pinnacle, gets to the peak of success, and then stops and says, is this all there is? And that feeling comes from a lack of service of other people. In my 20s and 30s, I didn't realize this. It was all about chasing the almighty dollar. And money is very important in business, by the way. I'm not one of those consultants who says, well, I don't do it for the money. I do it for the money. Money is the scoreboard. If you don't have money, you don't have a company. You don't have money to pay taxes, to hire people, to have an impact. I'm not running a nonprofit. I'm not running a halfway house. I'm not running a soup kitchen. I'm running a for maximum profit company. And I'm always clear with myself about that. But when I got into my 40s and I was making excellent money, I made a shift mentally into service. And I had a mentor say to me one time in my early 40s, he said, Michael, he said, no service, no significance. No service, no significance. And he said, no significance, no legacy. No significance, no legacy. And he said to me, he goes, what do you think is the only legacy? He said, you will build the only legacy that you can build that will matter will be built after 6 p.m. at night. The only legacy that will matter will be built after 6 p.m. at night. And at the time I was newly married. I had Emery, my daughter, was just born. And here I am, a family man, a full all-in family man for the first time in my life. And I have this mentor who says, no service, no significance, no legacy. And he's telling me that the only legacy that matters, that will truly matter, will be built after 6 p.m. at night. What he was referring to was my legacy as a husband, my legacy as a father, my legacy as a leader of my family. So I gave this a lot of deep thought over a couple of years. I thought about it when I was walking, when I was sitting on the end of the dock, when I was sitting on the boat, when I was reading. I always gave it a lot of deep thought. No service, no significance. No significance, no legacy. So he said to me, he said, Michael, the only legacy that can possibly matter and be memorable, he said, you will have a forgettable life. You will have a forgettable life like 99.9% of men if you do not build a legacy as a champion and a king in your own home. He said your life will be forgettable. He said you'll be remembered by your wife, your children, and your grandchildren, and it'll stop there. He said your great-grandchildren won't even know your name. They certainly won't know what you did for a living. They won't know who you served. They won't, and your great-great-grandchildren, they'll have to search you online to have any understanding of what you've done. If you don't serve other people, you won't have any significance. And if you have no significance, you'll have no legacy. You will have lived a forgettable life. So this is something that's haunted me for the last 15 to 20 years. It's one of those things that David Goggins says, I have badass angels that haunt me. And when most people have badass demons, I have badass angels that haunt me. I've turned these negative demons, call it the bad wolf, call it whatever, but we're all haunted by something. But if you can turn your badass demons into badass angels, you're gonna be haunted anyways. So this is a question that has haunted me for the last 20 years, is will I be forgotten? Will I be even remembered? Will people even know that I was here? And when you ask yourself that question, you start to get the answers that are all surrounded. They all surround service of other people. It all then comes back to finding out and listening for who you're called to serve. You have to find your calling. You have to sit silently. You have to walk in solitude. You have to journal. You have to pray. You have to meditate. You have to listen for your intuition, your golden gut, your creator, the universe, whatever is your personal definition. You have to listen for your calling. Who have I been called to serve? That's a question I've been asking myself for 20 years. Who have I been called to serve? And for the first handful of years, I never really got a defining answer. I was like, well, I'm gonna help people. I'm gonna help kids. I'm gonna help through sports. But the more I asked myself that question every day when I was walking, when I was journaling, when I was driving the car, before bed, before I closed my eyes, who have I been called to serve? I finally got a definition of it. And then the question became not who. The question I kept asking myself was, how can I serve the men and women I've been called to serve? The young people I've been called to serve, the children I've been called to serve. And then your life shifts and changes. Your life goes from making money, your life goes from being about yourself, your life goes from, selfishness to the exact opposite. Good morning. It goes to, okay, my life now is about service. With service, my life now has significance. When I serve other people with no expectation of return, when I become a giver, not a taker, then my life has significance. Because of the service of others, you have significance now. And then the automatic result of that is because you're serving other people, because you now are a giver, not a taker, all of a sudden you're building an automatic badass legacy. Now you're building something that's memorable, something that your queen is proud of, something your children are proud of, something your grandchildren will know about, something your great-grandchildren will be able to hear about, hear stories about, research online. Your great-great-great-grandchildren 300 years from now will be able to search you on the internet or whatever we're using in 300 years, and they'll be able to say, man, my great-great-grandfather was a badass. He helped people. He served people. He made a difference in the lives of the people that surrounded him. That, my friend, is service equaling significance and significance equaling service. And they'll be able to search you and research you in 200 years, 300 years, 400 years, and they'll be able to say, man, he was a hero in his own home. Man, he was a hero in his own home. Which brings me back to my personal definition of success. As a 53-year-old man in 2023, to me, it's as clear as the nose on my face. Applause at home. Applause at home. My reason why, my 7 levels deep reason why, is I want to earn the love and respect of my wife, Krista. I want to earn the love and respect of my 10-year-old daughter, Emery. I want to earn the respect, the love and respect of a handful of really, really good friends and people in my life. And that's it. Applause at home. Or in my case, applause in my own badass world, my own society, my own walled garden, but applause at home. And I talk about this a lot through my coaching programs and my masterminds, is most of the men that I work with, they're already successful. They're already making 6 figures. Some of them make 7 and 8 figures. They've been successful in multiple companies. They've raised children. They're now grandparents. They have beautiful homes and nice cars to drive and vacations to go on. So they've had lots and lots of material success, lots of entrepreneurial success. They've really, really done well for themselves. But there's a piece that's missing when you're 45, when you're 55, when you're 65, when you're 75. You're entering the next chapter in your life, the next decade, the next 20 years, the next 30 years, the next 40 years. But you're also looking at the principle of QTL, quality time left, is staring you in the face. Your number might be 18 years, it might be 11 years, it might be 6 years. God willing, it might be 22 years, it might be 3 years. So when these great, elite, and driven and generous men that I work with, when they look at that QTL number, their quality time left number, every day, and they're looking at it and it says 7, or it says 9, or it says 6, or it says 19, every day they're driven more to serve other people. Service equals significance, and significance will equal legacy. Do you know most of the elite top 1%ers that I work with, the best of the best, my champions and myself personally, Our greatest fear is not losing in business. Our greatest fear is not losing all of our wealth. Our greatest fear is not anything that's happening in the world. It's not, what's going on politically or in the news or any of that stuff whatsoever. Our greatest fear as driven, elite, and generous men, husbands, and fathers and entrepreneurs is being forgotten. My top guys, that's their number one fear. And I've learned that over 10 years in my personal life and my consulting life. I'm them and they are me. And we have the same fear. There's nothing we believe we cannot overcome. If we lost everything today, everything, and you dropped my guys out of the plane and with $10 in their pocket, these guys would be up operating, selling, marketing within a couple of days. They could earn it all back. They could literally make that small fortune again. They could build that empire again. They can build that world again. And that's why they have peace of mind, because they understand that money equals freedom. It's not about money, the paper or the currency. It's about the freedom, autonomy, and personal sovereignty that wealth allows you to have. You can't be free, you can't be independent, and you can't live a life of personal sovereignty until you get yourself in a safe harbor financial position. Lots of people call it FU money. But regardless, it's critical that they have this peace of mind knowing, hey, if I lost it all today, I could have it all back within a few months or a few years. So on top of that, that's not really a fear. That's not what haunts my men. What haunts my men, the elite of the elite, my top 1%ers, is they fear being forgotten. They fear leaving this tour of duty on earth. They fear leaving this life and being forgotten by everybody outside of their immediate family. And they fear that their life won't be about something that is significant, and that their life and all their extreme hard work wasn't built, a legacy wasn't built that is memorable and an example to others. So that's the badass angels that haunt my guys and myself. We want to be remembered. We're scared to death of being forgotten. I love this fear. I love this haunting, because it teaches us to smarten up and become better. It teaches myself and my men to focus no matter what we do in life, whether it's through our entrepreneurial ventures, whether it's through our role as a husband, as a father, as a grandfather, as a community volunteer, to serve others first. To serve others first. We can't be remembered, we can't live a life of significance, and we can't have a legacy that matters unless we have a mindset and behavior of service. It transitions from in your 30s, your 20s, your 30s and 40s. It's all about you, and it needs to transition into how can I serve those I've been called to serve. Every great business, every great billion-dollar business is built around a reason why. They're not selling computers, they're not selling iPhones, they're not selling the particular technology. That's not new, that's not something that separates. They're not selling insurance policies, they're not selling flooring, they're not washing cars, they're not drilling teeth, they're not cracking backs, they're not selling gifts at a retail store. They're not selling jewelry. The greats of the greats, their business has a burning reason why. And every man has a burning reason why. Every successful man has a burning reason why. There's a reason I'm out here talking with you at 5:30 in the morning in the dark. If I don't have a burning reason why, if I'm not haunted by badass angels, if I'm not haunted by the fear that I'm going to be forgotten, then I'm not out here serving you. I shoot these videos 365 days a year, in the snow, in the heat, in the bugs, when I'm sick, when I'm happy, when I'm sad, when I'm motivated, when I'm demotivated. And you don't have to buy a single thing. I don't care if you buy my book or subscribe to my newsletter or join my masterminds. If you do, that's great. But it doesn't have any financial impact on me. I'm still gonna live in the same house. I'm still gonna live on the lake in Canada. I'm gonna still live here in Naples. I'm gonna still drive the same car. I'm not gonna go out and shop for anything. I'm gonna still eat the same foods. I'm gonna still do the same things. So for me, it's about money, but it's also about significance and legacy and having that burning reason why. And what is my particular burning reason why? It's my definition of success now as a 53-year-old man. Applause at home. I want the love and I want the respect of my secret weapon best friend, wife Krista. I want the love and respect of that gift from God, my daughter Emery. I want the love and I want the respect of my mom and dad, who are 89 years young. I want the love and respect of a handful of good friends in my world. Applause at home. You might define it as being a hero in your own home. A hero in his own home comes home at 6 o'clock and he's greeted by his queen. You can tell within 10 seconds what that marriage is like. You know, how he's greeted by his queen, I can tell within 10 seconds how much you've invested in that relationship. I don't care if you've been married for 40 years. That 40 years, you can be as passionate, you can be as attracted, you can have the sexual life. After 40 years, you should have a better relationship than the day you were married. A badass king's marriage is more passionate, stronger. The attraction, the sexual life, all of it can be much better, should be much better than when you got married as immature 20 or 30-year-olds. But that's not the reality for 99.9% of couples. But it can be if you're a hero in your own home, if you focus on applause at home. And, you know, I teach dating your wife is the secret. You've been married for 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, 60 years like my mom and dad. The secret is dating your wife. You don't have to spend any money. You just have to go for a walk on a Sunday. You have to go for a walk on a Saturday night. You have to go for a walk on a Wednesday night. You have to go and shoot pool at a bar and grill. You have to go out and have nachos and talk without your phones. You have to go hiking together, just the two of you. Maybe you just go for a drive. You don't have to spend money. You just have to date your wife. And the more you date your wife like you would when you were a teenager in your 20s, the better it'll be. You need to organize it. You need to put it on the calendar. Every single week, you need to go on a date with your wife. It can be a walk. You can go play some pickleball. You can sit and talk, whatever it is. Our best dates each week are walks, where the two of us just walk and talk, walk and listen, walk and talk, walk and listen. Most powerful thing for our relationship. Same thing with your children. You're not going to have any applause at home. You're not going to be a hero in your own home if you're disconnected from your children, your daughter, your son, your grandkids. So what do children want? Whether they're teenagers, whether they're adult children, they still want the same thing. They don't care about your house. They don't care about your car. They don't care about your business. They don't care about how much money you make. They don't even care about vacations. What they want is one thing. T-I-M-E. Time. That's the one thing they want and need from their father. They need time. They needed that when they were children. They need it as teenagers. They need it as young adults. 2 words, be there. A king, a championship father who's connected with his son, his daughter, his grandchildren. 2 words, be there. Be there to listen, be there to sit, be there to invite. Save the lectures, save the preaching. Your example speaks volumes. They will learn by modeling your behavior. So save the lectures, save the speeches, save the motivational talks. Tell stories and invite your children. Tell stories and invite your children. Your children are having a hard time at school with bullying and social media. They're on their phones too much. You're worried about their work ethic. You're worried about their mental health. What do they see inside their house? What do they see from their mom? What do they see from their dad? What behavior are you modeling? How do you use your cell phone? Are you sitting there scrolling your life away, texting your life away, watching videos, anti-social media, the news, politics, video games, and then you turn around and you wonder why your son or daughter is struggling mentally? They will model exactly what they see. Apple, tree. Apple, tree. So what you and your queen model is what you'll get in your children, especially when they're teenagers and young adults. My daughter Emery's at age 10, so she's moving towards the age where words from her father and mother will no longer motivate. In other words, now we're getting into the years where what I do, what Krista does, is 100% of the game. I can save my lectures, save my speeches, save my sermons, and the only thing I can do to serve my daughter for the next 10 to 15 years is to live an elite example life. She's always watching. She'll always be watching, especially when she says she isn't. And the second thing I can do is tell stories and invite her. I'm heading to work. You want to come with me? Great. If not, great. I'm heading to the Dairy Queen for a Sunday. You want to join me? I'm heading to Dunkin' Donuts to get my Sunday coffee. Doors open, welcome. I'm going for a rollerblade. You want to join me? Some of the time she says yes. Some of the time she says no. Doesn't make any difference. The show goes on. The show goes on. Invite, 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 invite. When your children are struggling, when they're struggling with something and they come to you, bullying or alcohol abuse or drug abuse, when you're candid and honest with your children and you tell them your stories, it's one of the greatest things you can do as a king. To admit that you struggle with the same things when I was in high school, when I was trying out for the sports team, whatever it is, and you're honest and candid, clear as kind, unclear as unkind, when you share your stories, not your lectures, not your preaching, not your Tony Robbins voice, when you share your stories about how you fell down and how you failed and how you were embarrassed and how you felt humiliated, and the adversity that you came through and your story of getting back up, falling down 11 times, getting up 12. That's something that will connect with your child or your teenager or your young adult. Stories and invite, stories and invite. When they're struggling with something at school, could be online bullying, it could be, the boyfriend or girlfriend breaking up with them, whatever it is, it's endless. Share your story. Share your story of overcoming that. It's a big deal in their life. It's a big deal to a 17-year-old. It's a big deal to a 20-year-old. It's a big deal to a 13-year-old. Tell your story. Be open, be honest, be kind. Tell them of your failures. Tell them of your struggles. Tell them when you felt down and depressed and anxious. Tell them, share your losses and share the story of how you overcome those. And then be that example. Be that example. Man, my dad's in great shape. Man, my dad reads a book. Every time I see him, he's got a book in his hand. Oh my God, my dad's got his journal out again. He's got those highlighters all over the place. He's got his goals posted on the wall. God, he's a maniac. He's embarrassing. Oh, my friends are coming over. Can you put these books away? Oh my God. Man, my dad eats clean. God, he's like, doesn't he know he's old? Doesn't he know he's old? He eats like some athlete. He eats like Michael Jordan. He eats like he's some kind of championship athlete. Oh, my dad's out for one of his 4-mile walks. Walks every day. He's always out there walking. I don't know what he's doing, but he invited me for I'm going to go on a walk someday with him. Man, my dad is in great shape compared to other dads. Oh, my dad never misses anything. He's there at everything, every school event, every university event. My dad calls me every night. He's always there. Man, other dads aren't like that. God, my dad, what an entrepreneur. He works when he wants to. He's got this company. He's always doing something. My dad always has something on the go. Man, oh man, I don't know what he's doing. He's crazy. That's what you want your kids to see. They want to see somebody who's dreaming. They want to see somebody who's got amazing goals. They want to see somebody who's never ever done progressing. They want to see somebody who's never ever done contributing. You want to see somebody who's always chasing that next championship. So it's interesting because no service, no significance, no legacy. So my question for you today, and you can put it in the comments below, or you can reply to this email, which will get to me through Leanne, is what is your definition of success? Like I said, it's a deeply personal question, and it's different for everybody. And my answer of applause in the home of the love and respect of those that matter most to me may be very different than you. But it's really important, I believe. Sun rising behind me. There's my thank you. There's my for getting up. You know how many people miss that sunrise, or when they're up, they don't even bother to watch that because they're texting or buried in the news or buried in the first crisis of the day. They're losing control of their world in the first 10 minutes. They get up, they check their phone. Losers aren't winners, winners aren't losers. They lose control of their day in the first 10 minutes. It's sad and it's pathetic, and it's self-made, manufactured mental illness, digital dementia. Do you know the small percentage of people that are up, not only up, but also, like me, all my videos, if it's not a cloudy day, I was looking at my videos the other day, and I have months and months of amazing sunrises on video. So my question to you is, what is your personal definition of success? You can put it in the comments below. You can send an email here. But that's the question of the day, and I think there's value in answering that and thinking about it, because it changes as you mature. It changes as you change. It changes as you evolve. What is your definition of success? What is your definition of success? If you don't know what it is, it's pretty hard to score that goal. It's pretty hard to make that basket. It's pretty hard to get over the goal line when you don't know where the markers are. You need to know where the first down markers are. You need to know where the goal line is, because you could think you're winning and you're losing, or you could think you're losing and you're winning. What is your definition of badass success? And reply and send those, and I look forward to reading every single one of them. As you know, may or may not know, I'm being censored by social media, anti-social media, and big brother tech, I call it. Anything on the World Wide Web. And there's a solution. I'm moving to 100% off the grid. And I'm not going to go into this long detail. Just be aware that I won't miss a day. I won't miss a day of emails or video. I won't miss a newsletter. I won't miss a telegram. I won't miss a mastermind, because I've moved to 95% off the grid. What's off the grid? Off the grid is my own platforms, email, my locker room. I don't use Zoom. I don't use Skype. I've moved 95% off the grid with Mark Andre's help. And we're prepared to be banned and censored from big tech and anti-social media. All of my YouTube ads last year were banned, were canceled. For 2 or 3 years, our Facebook ads have been banned and canceled. My message is extremely unpopular amongst the great unwashed. My message is extremely unpopular with civilians and outsiders. I talk about family, very unpopular. I talk about freedom, extremely triggering. I talk about becoming an elite, generous, and driven man, a king in your own home, a hero in your own home, extremely unpopular. I talk about winning, extremely unpopular with 99% of the quiet desperation crowd. I talk about my love and respect for firefighters and police officers and our past and present and future military, the real heroes in our world, extremely unpopular with the civilians. I criticize mainstream bought and paid for media. I criticize vomit politics. Politics is theater for ugly people. I talk about the damages that social media have done to our children, to our adults. I talk about manufactured mental illness. I talk about digital dementia. I talk about how it's all been planned and very purposeful. Very, very unpopular on these platforms. So my days are numbered on BoobTube and Facebook and Instagrunt, and that's okay because I'm always ready. Yours Relentless is always ready. I'm so far ahead, I'm always on the way back. We have our own video platform. We don't need BoobTube. We have our own software for our masterminds. We don't use Zoom. We don't use Skype. That's for chumps. That's for chumps who want their information harvested. I use a program through the great Sam Ovens called School. We have an online forum for our newsletter and for our 2 masterminds. Do you think those online forums are through Facebook or social media? Big tech? No. Our locker rooms are through School. They're private. They're owned by Sam Ovens, a private entrepreneur. And it's amazing. We don't have any our email. We got rid of Google-based big tech email a year and a half ago. We moved to a program called Berserker Mail. 2 of my colleagues run it, 2 entrepreneurs. It has no connection whatsoever to Google or any big tech. So In my emails, I can say what I want. I can talk about family. I can talk about freedom. I can talk about my love of America, my love of Canada. I can talk about personal sovereignty. I can talk about creepy Joe Biden. I can talk about winners and losers. I can talk about personal sovereignty. I can talk about all those things. And my emails get delivered and opened and read. So we said goodbye to anti-social media, and we said goodbye to Big Brother tech over the last 2 years, and we're almost completely off. And, you know, there is no bad media. I continue to test YouTube ads and Facebook ads. If I can make money through those platforms, I will. But as a main platform, they'll never be ever again. I'm an off-the-grid guy. I write a paper newsletter. I send physical telegrams. I teach on a private platform. My videos are on a private platform. My emails have nothing to do with Google or big tech. And you can do all the same as well. That way you won't have the carpet pulled from underneath you. See, the carpet is not pulled from underneath yours relentless ever, because I'm always thinking 10 years ahead. I'm always thinking 5 years ahead. And I never, ever put all my eggs in one basket. I never depend on one media. I never depend on just, say, social media. I never depend on just videos. I never depend on just email. I have all these legs on the table. I have email, I have video, I have magazine ads, I have newsletters, I have social media ads, I have magazine ads, I have email ads. I have like 17 different ways that a person can discover me, buy my book, and enter my world. If one of those legs gets kicked out, I've still got 16 legs. 2 of those legs get kicked out, I still have 15 legs. I'm not one of these tomato cans that's depending on TikTok and now it's being taken away. I'm not one of these pretenders who depends only on Facebook ads 2 years ago and then it becomes unaffordable. Not me. I'm in the mailbox. I'm in the fax machine. I'm doing it the old school way. You think mail's going to be taken away? Do you think fax is going to be taken away? If that stuff is ever taken away, it'll be the last thing that's taken away. Fax broadcasting actually was taken away and it was brought back, but that was a media that was taken away from marketers. It was literally taken away. I knew guys that did hundreds of thousands of broadcast fax every Monday that were in the restaurant insurance niche. They marketed to restaurant owners. Well, guess what? 15 years ago, 20 years ago, the best way to reach a restaurant owner was by faxing them on a Monday when they were doing their paperwork and they were sitting at their desk and a restaurant was closed on a Monday. If it was closed, it would be closed on a Monday. And I had a friend who sold $40 million, $50 million worth of insurance premiums over 25, 30 years in the restaurant niche by a simple, ugly fax. He had the fax numbers of tens of thousands of statewide fine dining restaurants. And what would he do? He'd fax them once a month on a Monday. They'd call him for a quote. He'd write the $50,000, $40,000 account, home, car, vehicles, and the restaurant. That was his business, and it was all gone in one day. Broadcast faxing was canceled by, I think it was the Clinton group, anti-business, of course, right? And then it was resurrected by, I don't know if I'm giving credit to the right person, Bush. It doesn't really matter, but anyway, I have a fax list, I have a mailing list, I have an email list, so I'm not depending on one leg on the stool, so to speak. Build your business on multiple pillars. One pillar gets kicked out, you're still good shape. when the hurricane comes, when the tornado comes, when the anti-business crowd comes. So I need your fax number and I need your mailing address. If you haven't bought anything from me, I don't have your mailing address. Send Leanne your mailing address, reply to this email, or send Leanne your fax number and email. Her email is below this video, leanne@badassmillionaire.com. Why do I want your fax number? Because I send a free fax once a week with some of my very best marketing and money making ideas. Relationships, health, money, marketing, all faxed to you once a week. Doesn't cost you a dime, but it's off the grid so I can send my best stuff. I'm not worried about being censored. I'm not worried about being, filtered. So if I have your fax number, you get a fax once a week from me. It's 95% meat and potatoes. I may sell my book in there. I may sell my newsletter. I don't know. I always sell something. I'm a proud and unabashed salesman. So I need your fax for that. Well, Michael, I don't have a fax number. There's a link to what's called MFax. MFax below. It's inexpensive. Get it. It's a software that allows you to receive my faxes by email in your email box, and you can print them off and study them. So if you don't have a fax machine, next best thing, buy the MFax software. The link is below in the email. The link is below this video, and that will allow you to get your faxes by email. Fax is for champions. Texting is for chumps. So I also need your physical address because, once again, no cost to you. I sometimes mail some stuff that I discover. Sometimes I put together a mini newsletter on marketing and money making. Sometimes I'll send an article that I tear out of a magazine I thought was valuable. Sometimes I'll send a tip sheet. Sometimes it's just ideas that I discover when I'm reading 3, 4, 5 hours a day studying. And a lot of times I'll just print them off and put them in the mailbox for everybody that's on my mailing list. There's no charge. You don't have to buy anything. But if you want to receive my off-the-grid mailings, sometimes I just send a copy of the fax for guys that don't have a fax number. But if I have your fax number and I have your full mailing address, you'll get my best stuff. And it's free. And once again, pay it forward, pay the tax, pay the fee. I don't charge for this stuff. I'm out walking at 5 in the morning. Today, I'm out writing, I'm out sending you stuff, I'm faxing you, I'm mailing you stuff. I'm spending time and money. Make sure if there's somebody in your world, somebody that needs to hear these messages, these videos, needs to read the faxes, needs to read the emails, needs some inspiration or motivation, whatever you want to call it, then please forward it. Tell them about this world. Tell them about my videos. Get them to sign up. Get them to join my email list. Be a giver, not a taker. Have an abundance mindset, not a scarcity mindset. Don't hoard everything to yourself. Don't hoard all these videos to yourself. Don't hoard all the teachings to yourself. Share them with your employees. Share them with your teenagers. Share them with your adult children. Share them with your spouse if appropriate. Share them with people that need to hear these positive messages of hope, of happiness, of opportunity, of freedom, who need to hear that this is the greatest time in history to be alive. Men and women that need to hear that we are awash in wealth and opportunity like never before in history. For people that need to hear that this is the greatest time in history to be a husband, to be a father, the greatest time in history to be an entrepreneur, to be a businessman, to be a person building success, significance, and legacy. Never been a greater time. We are awash in trillions of dollars. We've got access to 8 billion people to sell to. We are awash in abundance and opportunity, and we live in the two greatest countries in the world, the United States of America and Canada. Doesn't get any better. People that need to hear the message that the best is yet to come. How many times you hear that in a day from the tomato cans? I'm here to tell you, as a relentless, ruthless entrepreneur, king, champion, the best is yet to come in your life. Do you realize that? If you're 55, the best is yet to come. You're 65 years old, the best is yet to come. You're 75 years old, the best is yet to come. The best is yet to come. Next year will be better than this year. Next month will be better than this month. Tomorrow will be better than today. That's a mindset. My mom and dad are 89 years old. They're just like, the best is yet to come. The best is yet to come. They have their first great grandchild the other day. The best is yet to come. They were never great grandparents before. Now they're great grandparents. Man, I'm the luckiest man in the world, Michael. My dad, man, I'm the luckiest man on earth. I'm a great grandfather. The best is yet to come. Somebody needs to hear that message. Make sure that you pay it forward. Pay the tax, pay the fee. You're not charged for these things. Be a giver, not a taker. Pay it forward. That's it for today. Send me your fax and send me your mailing address, and I'll put you on those 2 righteous lists. 2 words that change my life and 2 words that can change your life. Send me your answer. What is your personal definition of ultimate badass success? 2 words that changed my life, 2 words that'll change your life. Be relentless.